Hi, this is Melvin Shepard back for another series of dealing with behaviors in the classroom. First part of the series was creating a foundation the first 2 weeks of school as to know how to deal with behavior issues when they come about, having those expectations for the students, having the students understand their basic needs, and we as teachers understand the basic needs, and learning will be difficult to take place or will not take place if those basic needs are not being met. Now let's go to part 2 of our series, which is going to deal with some behavior issues in the classroom, some actual behavior issues that will come about, that can come about, and how to deal with these issues. When behavior issues arise, it is imperative that the teacher remains calm. Have a calm, soothing voice, not create a bigger problem than it already is. Listen to the student. If the student is irrational at that point, don't try to talk the student down. Listen to them. It's very difficult to try to talk someone down who's thinking irrationally. So give them their moment. Shake your head that you do understand. Reaffirm what they're saying. And let them talk. Okay. If they're not willing to talk to you, let them know that you're always there to listen. That they can come to you anytime. And you reiterate what the consequences could be in the event they choose to make a bad choice, or if they choose to display negative behaviors, or when they are in the midst of displaying negative behaviors. You just listen to them, or you allow them to go for a walk, and you allow your TA or someone's there with you, or if you trust your student. Again, this goes back to trusting your students. If they're bent out of shape, they get up, they kick the desk, and they're yelling, ask them to please go for a walk. Okay? Give them a way out. Okay? Again, you don't want to argue with students. You want to reaffirm what they're saying so they'll know that you're listening. You want to answer any questions that they may have about the situation. You want to give them options. When they're done yelling, screaming, and kicking, whatever it may be, you want to provide them with resources. You want to really get to understand what they're going through. You don't want to be so quick to call parents unless it's imminent danger during in the event they're trying to endanger themselves or others. Then yes, then we call authorities and parents and those. But we let the students know that ahead of time. During that 2-week period, we let them know that so it won't be a surprise to them if we have to do that. But if a student is misbehaving in your class, swearing, yelling, not doing his work, find out what's causing that behavior. Our duty is the sole purpose of our duty in that class at that moment is to know that our student is behaving in an awkward manner and something is causing that behavior. Now, he could be under the influence. Mom and dad could have had a fight, could have lost a girlfriend, kicked out the football team, basketball team, what have you, but something is causing that behavior. And we have to figure out what that is. So to do that, we have to let the student vent to say what they need to say so they can feel respected. Okay? You might have to open up the whole entire classroom for discussion if it's appropriate. Because if not, the student has just interrupted the educational process anyway. Now it's time to get back on track, okay, with a different subject that's bothering the student. Okay? If it's appropriate. Discuss it. Have a roundtable. Share it. Invite other students to take part in it. Because remember, the educational process has been interrupted. And it's kind of hard to get back on track once that happens. So you partake in an appropriate discussion about what's causing the student to behave the way they are. Let's say it was the student take their meds. Or let's say it was a breakup with their students and one of their girlfriends. Okay? So let's talk about relationships. Yeah, it hurts when we have a broken heart. It's hard to get over. Let's talk about what that feels like. Let's talk about what happens when the heart is broken, what the body goes through. Let's talk about that. Let's have a discussion. So now you're educating everybody else as well, along with that student who was showing negative behaviors or displaying negative behaviors. So you turn that into a lesson. You might have to do that at some point. But again, you've taught some valuable teachers, students, some valuable information about what took place in your classroom with that student displaying negative behavior. So you want to proact. You don't want to react to the student's behaviors. That causes burnout. Okay? So you proact, you figure out what's going on, you figure out what's causing that to happen, and we may not be able to figure all that out. So that's when we make referrals to counselors. We make referrals to outside sources. We make referrals. Have that student to go talk to a coach. Have that student to go talk to a teacher that they're familiar with, that they trust. You want to get the best resource possible for that student. So arm yourself with resources. Have yourself a toolbox where you can go in and get the tools you need in situations like that. Okay? So this is part 2 of the series of dealing with negative behaviors in the classroom. Again, you want to listen to the student. You want to remain calm. You want to give the student options. You want to inform the student of the consequences for displaying negative behaviors. And you want to find out what's causing the behavior, and then you want to turn it into a lesson. You want to invite the entire class to partake in, if it's appropriate, what's actually going on. Now, sometimes that may not work because the student may have a inappropriate conversation that they want to talk about and can't be talked about amongst other students. Well, you might want to have a private discussion with that student about what's going on with them, because they may not even want to share. And at that time, you can have your TA, or you can have somebody to come and take your role as the teacher, like a colleague or a co-worker, to come over and watch your class while you arrange a meeting with this student. So those are some of the things that you want to do when the student is displaying negative behaviors in your classroom. Again, this is the second part series in handling behavior issues in the classroom.